Hello and welcome back to my series where I'm going through the challenges in my book, The C Sharp Player's Guide, and solving all the challenges. We are working on the final battle, which is the biggest set of challenges, the biggest program you'll make in the book. We are through the 9 core challenges, and I think we're through 6 of the 9 expansions. You do not need to do all of them, though I know there are plenty of people out there who are gonna give them all a try. So we are on, honestly, this is kind of the last one that's like specific. Like the ones after this are making it yours, where you can do whatever the heck you want, add in your own features, and then there's this restoring balance that says tweak all, like you don't have to make code changes, but tweak all the little numbers and stuff everywhere to make it so that you have to play the game well in order to win. So this is the last one with like some specific new features being added, and that is the one we're going to deal with today. So the idea with this though is we're going to add to all attacks any kind of damage we might deal. Um, will will have it'll have a type associated with it, and this calls out a couple: normal and decoding. The decoding one is for the specific unraveling attack, but it says come up with any that you want. So we'll do that, and we'll make it so the unraveling attack does decoding damage, and then we're building on the last challenge above, and have a defensive attack modifier called object site that reduces decoding damage, only decoding damage by 2. So we've already got most of the pieces in already made for that, and then this says to increase the unraveling attack by a bit so that it's a formidable attack, basically. So I'm going to scoot this out of the way, and we'll just dive in. The first thing here that we need to do is we need to go to that attack data class record, and we need this to have a damage type. And I'm just going to make an enumeration for that. Public enum damage type, and we know we need, I don't know, normal decoding damage, and then we can add more. So let's, like, are there other things in here that we think we might want? Like we could call these like I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like we could, I don't know, we could do something like, just looking at these attacks, like what we could do is we could have, maybe it's not even normal. Maybe we have like piercing, bludgeoning, and slashing. This one's almost magical in nature by comparison, but anyway, maybe we want to have like all of these. I think maybe fit into that those categories well enough. Like the bow is maybe, somebody who's a big fan of D&D might get upset at my choices here, and my apologies. My apologies if that's you. Story time. I have played D&D once, and it was not like the normal one. It was a Star Wars RPG that was basically the same concept. And I was an Ewok pilot. And that is an absolutely awful combination. But I had read some of the books, and there was a character that was an Ewok pilot that had like been like, I don't remember the details now, but like the Empire had like messed with this Ewok and had somehow given him extra abilities and some stuff like that. Anyway, long story short, I almost drove our submarine off a waterfall. We almost died, but I managed to save it, and everybody survived. And then all the other characters wanted to be Jedis, and my character had no capacity to do that. And so the next adventure was going to be, 2/3 of the people starting on this like Jedi Force journey, and I don't think it ever even happened. But I wasn't even invited to that. So don't be an Ewok pilot. Anyway, end of story. Uh, let's see. So I haven't played a whole lot of D&D is the main point there. So forgive me if I get this wrong. Uh, I'm gonna make, decisions that feel right. If they're not right, then I'm sorry. This looks like bludgeoning to me. Bite looks like, I don't know, maybe that's piercing. Slashes. Oh, hey, look, slashing. Surprise. Punches. That sounds like bludgeoning to me. Stab looks like, is that piercing or is that? Stab sounds more like piercing than slashing to me. So we'll call that piercing. Oh, wait, that was a mistake. I didn't. That's supposed to be bludgeoning. I don't know if I mistyped it or misthought it or what, but punch is bludgeoning. Okay. Those seem like good options to me. And now we've given all of our attacks this damage type. And in general, like this isn't going to affect things that much, but if we go to our actions and come in here and see, let's see, where we dealt whatever damage. If we come in here and say attack data dot type damage. So now we'll get like, and actually let's do this dot to string dot to upper. Yeah, so we'll make sure they're everything we do is all uppercase. So we take the enumeration, to string it, to upper. So we've got our attack data in string form, and now we should be able to run this, and we should be able to see that stuff where it'll say one piercing damage, one slashing damage. I just want to make sure we're one slashing damage. Let's wait for this to get to the final, to the uncoded one. 4 decoding damage. Ooh, that is 4 damage. That's a lot. Poor guy. Hopefully he takes a potion next. Did he? No. Okay, good. The heroes are safe. Yeah, increasing that up to 4 damage is kind of a big deal. All right. Awesome. So the only thing we need to do now is we want to give, let's see, where are our attack modifiers? So we're going to give our hero this object site ability. And we're going to put it here. So object site, reduce the attack by, so this should be reduce it by 2, but this should also say if input dot damage, sorry, input dot type, right? Input dot type is damage type dot decoding. Sorry, well, let's do it this way. If it's not decoding, return input. So we'll just leave it alone. Otherwise, we will, so everything else, we're just going to take what was there and just let it go through. Otherwise, we are going to reduce it by 2. And then same stuff as here. And, just looking at this like this is the kind of thing that might very well deserve a method. So I'm gonna not do that just yet. We might come back to that. Part of my reasoning is that we're almost done with this, and I don't know. That's not great logic, but if I knew I were gonna have to maintain this program for the next 10 years, and I was gonna keep having to add new different attack modifiers and all sorts of stuff like that. Like 2 of these is one thing. If I have 20 of these that are all the same, then even more so. And it probably wouldn't even be that hard to. It wouldn't even be that hard to reduce that duplication. Okay, let's see. So with that in place, and then the one thing we were supposed to do is we were supposed to just like we did here with this defensive modifier, we want to do that with down here with true programmer. So defensive modifier equals new object site. And now we can run this again, and we should let this run to the last stage, which we could have moved that forward to test it out. This shouldn't take too long though. Here. Okay, that time attacked Vin Fletcher. So this would have dealt 4 damage, but it ended up dealing only 2. It dealt 2. See, every time it's actually dealt 2. 2 again. That's kind of interesting. That's it. Also dealt 2 there. As far as somebody watching this goes, they would not have any strong idea on 2 again. 2. How many times in a row has that been? There, finally. It's the only time in all that we dealt not 2 damage, and it was 1. All right. So I think that's it for this challenge. It wasn't that much. All we did was added in to attacks. We added in a type. We came up with these types, and then we went through every attack we had and chose a type for them. And then in our actions in here, the attack action, we added in the type so we can show that. So that part's new, and then we just made a new attack modifier, this object site one that specifically protects against decoding damage. So I think that is mostly it. I'm still debating on this whether it's worth making a function for that. I don't think I'm going to right now, but let's just talk for a second about what we could do, because it would be not hard here to to make it. I say I'm not going to do it, and then I start writing code. But sometimes it's easier for me to in terms of explaining it, it's easier to have actual code. But so we could take this and make a public static attack data reduce by so something like this. We've got the input, let's see, amount. So that would be here. Amount goes there, and then modifier name would go here. So we could do that, and then we could just say return attack modifier utilities input to name. Dot reduce by. So we could do that, and then same thing up here. This just becomes one. So I said I was going to do it, but it's done now, and I'm happy with it. So I'm going to leave it that way. We've got rid of the duplicate code, and now we have this little pile of utilities. The beginning of a pile with one item in it. We've got this pile of utilities that we could do. In fact, we could have an increase by, or we could have a collection of little utility methods here that these other things can rely on to get rid of that duplication. Another possibility is we could have made like a damage reduction modifier base class that handled the bulk of that works. We could have shifted that down into a base class that stone armor and object site both derive from. Given how we've been building this, I don't think that would be a bad approach. Complex object hierarchies, class hierarchies have like there are it's really easy to find yourself in a situation where you want all the attributes of 7 different base classes, and you can't really do that in C sharp. So there's a lot of people who talk about how you should prefer like big object hierarchies are bad. I don't know that I see this going down a path that would definitely cause pain though. I think we're probably okay. So I think you could do that. Make a base class for like damage reduction modifiers. That'd be another pathway here. Um, anyway, there's definitely plenty of options to go down. Again, I don't love that we are doing console.writeline in any of this stuff. It kind of feels like that that really deserves to live somewhere else. Um, but that would mean that we'd have to push that to something else who is aware of, hey, this modifier just affected the attack somehow. And I think you could do it. I think there's a fair bit more work to do to handle that in a way that can still allow this console version of this game to interact with the console window without directly, without having console.writeline here. So anyway, so I'm not going to be too worried about that right now. I'm okay with this thing doing that. So I think I'm happy with this. And so I think we're going to call this challenge done. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time.